In a world of glitz and glam, flashing lights and screaming fans, most people are unaware of the war that rages behind the scenes. And that war includes your favorite artist and your favorite songs. This is The Dark Side of Songwriting. Hosted by Nayim Edwards.
Welcome to The Dark Side of Songwriting. My name is Nayim Edwards and I'm your host. We are back with part 3 of the Demi Lovato War on Drugs. Don't feel like recapping what we just talked about, but we're going to talk about the day she overdosed and the aftermath effects of her really big overdose. Now, she probably had small level overdoses before, but she overdosed in, I think, 2018. Demi Lovato had one of the biggest overdoses. They said it was like the 29th biggest event that happened that year, but she was the number one Google person in 2018, and it was because she overdosed because, of course, she's sneaking around, doing her heroin, doing her coke, drinking alcohol. She was saying that she was started to smoke weed so she can she felt like she didn't want to completely get off drugs, and she felt like the weed in moderation was good for her because she didn't just want to just stop doing drugs. You know, nobody ever wants to just stop doing drugs, but this is another heavy turn. Again, she was raped the day of her overdose. What's so crazy about it is when she was being raped, and this is from her account, when she was being raped, she didn't even know that she was being raped until, you know, a little bit time later, she realized the day that she OD'd, somebody came in and took it. And it's so crazy because that's how a lot of we end up in these situations a lot of times, and you end up getting fucked up and fucked over because you're not sober, especially as musicians. Especially, it's just like, I don't even know if I even mentioned music yesterday in her episode. Yeah, I think I did. But, it really don't matter because no matter what, especially having that pressure of being famous and that pressure of being known and that pressure that came from childhood with this false standard of perfection, or the standard of perfection that comes with, if you want to make it, you need to have crystal clear imaging, because you came out being marketed as this. You need to stay this because the big money is where we can put you everywhere. We can't unless you become some gangster rapper so big that we can't help but to put you places, but it's still places you can't do and places you can't go. You would have to be 50 Cent level to be invited to the, 50 Cent in his prime, to be invited to a Kid Choice Award and nobody say nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're bigger than life and there's no way that we can't, whatever. And it's the same case with her, She talked about how she was always hungover because she probably, played like, oh, I'm going to bed early, and she would go 3 or 4 hours early just so she can use those 3 or 4 hours before she actually went to bed to get high. And the thing with the music shit is your schedule is so wacky. You're doing so much and so whatever all the time that it don't matter what time you could be, I work all through the night and my bedtime is 8 a.m. and I'm going to get up at 4 p.m. She could have, being that she already said that she was sneaking around and doing shit, she definitely had to have time allotted to doing shit. But she was always hungover, so she probably always had on a hoodie, probably saying, oh, I'm just recording an album, sunglasses. But I know, it had to be people who noticed, because there were people who noticed. She ended up going back to the sober living facilities. But when she was in them sober living facilities, she was in that bitch talking about, well, she wasn't talking about, she was at war with the people in there with her what do you call those people? What do you call them? Those people who live, roommates, whatever. Like, I'm just thinking, the people who live with her, co-inhabitants, her roommates didn't agree with her drinking and doing weed because, we're supposed to be getting here to get clean. We're not supposed to be here for you to give us the excuse that you need this in moderation because everything's okay in moderation. That's bullshit. But let's get to, everything's not okay in moderation, by the way. Some shit you just shouldn't be doing. But we know how people get to these places. So, and people, like, we living in this wild ass time where people think it's okay to do and say and whatever, everything. Like, no, you know, like, no, I don't believe everything's good in moderation. Some shit you should just avoid because it's more trouble than it's worth. So let's talk about the fucking, my ear itching, Jesus. Let's talk about the aftermath of her OD. Her overdose was so devastating. She ended up having strokes. She had a heart attack. She had some brain damage. She had vision impairment. You know, this is shit that happens in people's everyday, regular lives. And remember, I said that I was doing this because people was making a joke out of it. This bitch was on her deathbed, on her way out, stroke, heart attack, brain fucked up. You can't see, or you can't see clearly, I'll say. They were still making jokes about how it's like, going back to that hot spoon shit. They're making jokes, oh, she just couldn't stop or whatever. I wish I would have pulled some jokes. I might, but I probably can't even go back that far. But like, they didn't even care when you was on your way out. This is a message to the artists and people who do anything and you plan on being successful. You got to worry about you. And I wouldn't even be on it. Like, it's fucked up because you want to be online because everybody's online and shit. But you'll see these people get in here like, oh, I can't even do I don't do the internet. Somebody else run my Twitter. Somebody else run my IG, because all day you're going to be bombarded with negativity because these people don't have to see you. They don't have to be around you. They don't have to talk to you. You know? It's really, they're talking to you. If you say something back to them, then it's news. And then they want to sue you because you ruined their life. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's all type of, you know, crazy ass shit that come with it. But those things that happen to her are lifelong illnesses. Those come with lifelong effects. Having a stroke, being so young, because me and Demi are the same age at this point. Like, having a stroke in your mid-20s is like, you got a lot of life that come after that. You know, the effects of drugs on your organs, the effects of the heart attack. Now your heart weak. Now you can't do certain things, or you can't whatever. Brain damage. There's no reversal for a certain type of brain damages, and brain damage is brain damage. You know what I'm saying? Your vision problems, you might be able to get that fixed, but all this shit just piled on top of each other, and the fact that all this happened before age 30 is very fucking nuts. You know, she's expressed that her only remorse was for her. She was remorseful and apologetic towards her fans, because those are the people who love her. Those people who was making the jokes and all this shit, that's just something funny for the timeline. You just a good ass meme to people who don't give a fuck about you. But I felt like it was very beautiful and very real and very transparent for her to come out with all of this and be the example, because she definitely has fans who probably struggle with drug use and drug abuse and all these crazy ass addictions, and they've been through stuff. And the fact that she can even come out and say, you know, they tried to make me out. She came out and said it. They tried to make me into something perfect, and I wasn't. I was hiding who I really was. I'm sharing this so you don't have to go through it. It's like when Jay-Z said, Hov been through that, so hopefully you ain't got to go through that. That's real. And we need more artists to come out and tell the truth. Come out and tell the real. Come out, and it's about music, but there's so much that comes before the music. The music is just the pretty packaging end product. There's so much pain that went into her life, and pain and shit that went into her music that you wouldn't know about looking at this girl on this screen. You know, like, she had to do that. And you know, her fans love her. She has her cult following. She has her fan base. People who gonna ride with her and rock with her. You know, I just wanted to touch on those because these aren't things that are going to go away. These are things that are going to be lifelong. They say you never really get clean or you never really stop being addicted. You just learn how to get away from it. But hopefully she don't have no slips, because this shit is not a story from the blah blast from the fucking past 20 years ago. This was recent. Like, hopefully she stays on the right path of where she is at as she continues to just be. And it's fucked up, because who wants to put their whole life and their vulnerabilities on display for people who don't care and people who don't know, and everybody in the weight of the world's crushing you, and then run the risk of not only being crushed by people you don't know and crushed by opinions from faceless accounts and all type of shit in the digital age, but just be out here like this and then run the risk of not even being successful, on top of pulling your fucking chest plate open and your organs and everything just falling the fuck out of you. You know, like, who wants to do that? But sometimes you have to make that sacrifice if you want that type of life. Because if you don't want that type of life, this ain't really even the field you want to get in. Or you got to come in this bit so militant. But again, we're going back to the first part of this about good men being in your life. You have to have wise counsel. You have to have good and strong men in your life, because if you don't, you're not even going to know how to navigate. You know, I had a conversation months and months ago about how, no, it wasn't a conversation. Yeah, it was a conversation, but I said this when I first started this channel, how a lot of stuff as a woman, when you have those men around you, they're able to talk you out of getting online and saying something crazy. They're able to, you'll have, I know that with me, before I react to anything, I think about how the good men in my life would feel if I reacted to something that's so, they'll be able to look at it and tell you, look, don't respond to no shit like this. Fuck that. We're busy. We're working over here. They're not doing shit. You know what I'm saying? You need those men in your life to be around you and to tell you when you fucking up, when you tripping, what you should do, what you shouldn't do. And it ain't got nothing to do with control or whatever people want to come out here and say or feel about a thing. This is just real. You need the wise counsel. You need the direction. You need somebody who is not you to be able to observe the environment, look at you, and tell you what your next step should be. You can make your own decisions, yes, but you do need people. Because I think it's women see things when men need it. Men need the same thing in woman form, because women can do body language. Women can see what's going on. Women know the feel of the room. Men, the same thing. It's, you know, we just all need each other, and she needed people like that to just keep her focused. So hopefully she still has that. But tomorrow's episode, we're going to talk about team and just the conclusion of this, because we got to wrap this up. But I just want to talk about your addiction when it comes to your team. So this has been the Dark Side of Songwriting. My name is Nayim Edwards, and I will holler at you.